Hey y'all, welcome to day 21 of my vlog where I share my thoughts, ideas, and my journey in life with you guys. For today's topic is real simple. What I really want to share today. One of the things I've noticed of why a lot of people are unhappy, why a lot of people find it hard to attract love, why a lot of people find it really, really hard to be successful, because most people don't know who they are. Most people have never asked the question, who am I? Most people have never found who they are in real life to figure out who they truly are to be happy. And I truly believe that if you want to change your life, I truly believe that if you want to improve and progress in your life, to be happy, to attract love, to be successful, that you have to figure out who you are. You have to figure out what do you want to be, what do you want, what do you desire, what makes you happy, and what do you want to pursue. And I truly believe a lot of people, the reason why a lot of people are unhappy, because a lot of people don't know who they are. Because we live in a world and society where we care too much, or we care more about the opinion of other people to please other people more than we care about our own opinion for ourselves and pleasing ourselves, so that way we're happy. We live in a world where we care more about the opinion of other people when it comes to the people we date and the type of relationships we go in, instead of just going into the relationships and talking to the people that we truly love and our heart has a passion for. But we care a lot about what people think, because that person doesn't fit the mold of what people expect you to be with. We live in a world today where a lot of people find it hard to be successful, because a lot of people care too much about the opinion of other people. Why a lot of people are afraid to start towards their goals and dreams and aspirations. Well, a lot of people are afraid to start to change their life, to progress in their life, because they fear, they're worried about the opinion of other people, instead of just doing what makes them happy. So, at the end of the day, we live in a society where as soon as we're born, we're born into expectations, we're born into standards, and we have to figure out how we're going to live our life between those boundaries, between those standards and expectations. So we kind of limit ourselves. But the thing is, if you want to truly be happy, if you want to live a fulfilling and a fulfilled life, a life of freedom, because that's what happiness is. Happiness is not containment. Happiness is freedom of being who you are. And in order to be free from the constraints of society, by the expectations of society, by the standards of society, you have to be unapologetic you have to be unapologetic to be yourself. And the first step into progression, and the first step to changing your life, the first step into living a life that makes you happy, is you have to figure out who you are. And that's one of the toughest things a lot of people find it hard to do, is to figure out who they are. Because when you're trying to work on yourself to figure out who you are, then you have to disregard any kind of expectation, any kind of opinion of the people around you. You have to eliminate that from your life and just focus on what you really want to do from your life. And a lot of people find that really, really hard, because most people want to please other people. Most people care about the opinion of other people. Most people worry about what people are going to perceive, and how, what people are going to say, and what people are going to feel about you. But the reality is, you can't control what people think. We can't control what people are going to say about you. A lot of people, their judgment towards you is a reflection of the lens, of they see that's filtered through their own personal insecurities and fears and doubts they have within themselves. So we can't worry about what people think, because people that they're struggling with in their own life, people that have a lot of things they're going through in their own life, they're always going to judge you, because that's how they're able to deal with the stuff that they go through. So I just want to encourage all you guys out there, you have to start working on yourself. You have to find who you are, and that's the first step into happiness, the first step into attracting love, and the first step into being successful. And the reason why a lot of people find it really, really hard to figure out who they are, to find their own voice, and to be comfortable who they are. Because when you go through that process, when you go on that journey to figure out who you are, you have to cut a lot of things in your life. You have to cut the negative opinion of people. You have to cut negative friends, negative family members. You have to cut everything in your life that is tearing and putting you down. That's being toxic and being negative to your happiness. And that's that's one of the toughest things to do when you're trying to figure out who you are, trying to figure out your own happiness is eliminating all the things in your life that's toxic, that's putting you down, that's negative towards your life, whether it's family, whether it's friends, or whoever you're gonna meet in your life. If they're toxic to your life, if they're detrimental to your happiness, if they're trying to hold you back, you have to eliminate that from your life. And that's really hard because most people, we care too much about the opinion of other people. And I understand that, but the thing is, if you want to be happy, you have to be yourself. If you want to find your happiness, you have to be yourself. You can't worry about what other people think. And of course, the reason why a lot of people find it really, really hard to figure out who they are, to start on that journey, to figure out their own happiness, because when you try to figure out who you really are inside, so you can be comfortable of being your true self, you have to deal with all the fears, the doubts, the trauma, the insecurities, all the dark things in your life, the skeletons that's inside your heart. You have to be able to deal with all those things that's holding you down, all those things that's holding you back, all those things that's making your heart heavy, your soul, your spirit, all the things that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to deal with because it's just too painful to deal with if you try to uncover it within yourself. But that you have to go through that process. You have to go through the darkness in order to find your light. That's the only way you'll be able to find your happiness. And you can't worry about what people think because when you go through that journey of self-fulfillment to find yourself, of self-love, self-value, self-worth, understanding your own self-worth, you have to go. That path is only meant for you, and that path is going to be different from the path of normal society. So when you're going down that path to figure out who you are, to figure out your own happiness, your own love, and your own success, you're going to be seen as different. You're going to be seen. You can be living a life that's different from most people because most people are not happy. Most people don't have faith in real love, and most people are not living their dreams, goals, and aspirations. Have settled. So that's the only way you can figure out what you truly want for your life is you have to figure out who you are first. Because once you figure out who you are, once you figure out your own happiness, then everything is you don't worry about the things that doesn't benefit your life. When you're comfortable in your own skin, when you know your happiness, you don't worry about the opinion of other people. You don't worry about what people are gonna say about your relationships. You don't worry about what people are gonna say as you work towards your goals and dreams because you're comfortable in who you are. And today, the reason why so many people are lost today, so many people are broken, so many people are miserable in jobs that they don't like. So many people are insecure about their bodies. So many people are insecure about their own abilities, have no faith within themselves of what they can achieve in their life. Why so many people are afraid to open their heart to love again. Why so many people go into relationships already expecting it to fail. Why a lot of people stay in toxic and hurtful and abusive relationships is because a lot of people just don't know who they are. Because if you don't know if you don't know what makes you happy, if you don't know who you are, if you're not comfortable with your own self, then that's why you always get torn apart when people say negative things about you. When people say things about you that hurt your feelings. Right? And that's life, and that's society. In society, there's always gonna be criticism. There's always gonna be doubters, non-believers. Everybody will always have something to say about you, and that's just the world we live in, right? That's why a lot of people are afraid to go into love, to try open their heart again, to love again, because today a lot of people just don't know, have never figured out their own heart. have never healed from their own trauma and from their own past hurt. A lot of people don't know their self-worth because they haven't gone through that process to figure out what they really are. Because a lot of times, like I said, people are only dating or trying to go into relationship, trying to go into love, not because they're ready. A lot of people just go into relationship just cause. A lot of people go into relationships because everybody's doing it. A lot of people go into relationships because they're afraid that they're getting older. We have to, people think that we have to be married or be in a relationship by a specific time or a specific age. A lot of people are not comfortable or being single or being by themselves. So they just, because they don't know who they are, because they're not comfortable in their own skin and their own heart, comfortable being single. That's why a lot of people go into relationships that is not beneficial for them, but ends up hurting them. And especially when it comes to success, it's the same thing. If you don't know who you are, then you're always going to end up doing things that you don't like. A lot of people work at jobs they hate. A lot of people are working in careers that they're not passionate for. A lot of people only are going to jobs because that's what their family expected them to do, what their parents want them to do, right? Instead of going into a career that makes them happy, instead of doing something that makes them happy, no matter if nobody believes in your goals and dreams and aspirations, no matter if people think your dream is stupid or the job that you like is stupid. If you want to make, if you want to be a clown and go in and make people laugh, and that makes you happy, and helping kids and going to parties and that makes you happy, go for it. You can be a clown, you can be an ice cream man, whatever you want to do. What if you want to be a millionaire or you just want to be a normal person? But if you have to do something that makes you happy, then go do it. But a lot of people, we care. We care too much of what people think. So, but that's one thing I want to express my love to all you guys today, that the only way you're going to improve your life, the only way you're going to be able to progress in your life, the only way you can be able to change your life, the first step is you have to figure out who you are. You have to figure out who is the person that makes you happy. You have to figure out your own voice. You have to figure out your own mind. You have to make your own choices. And you have to be comfortable and you have to be unapologetic when it comes to being yourself. And that is the first step, because before you can be happy, before you can attract love, before you can be successful, you have to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, once you know yourself, or what you want out of life, how you want to be treated, your standards, your expectations for yourself, then it's really easy to figure out what makes you happy. It's really easy to figure out what kind of person do you want to go into a relationship with to attract that type of love. It's really easy to decide your career path, what kind of goals and dreams and aspirations, what you want to do with your life, what kind of life do you want to live, or the purpose that you're trying to fulfill and obtain in your life, right? And of course, the only way we can figure those things out is we have to go through the process of trial and error. Because what happens is when you start your journey of being happy, that means you're willing to go outside your comfort zone because you're looking for answers. A lot of people always ask, how do I figure out who I am? The answer to that is just pick something in your life that you feel like that makes you happy, and try it. It's trial and error. You have to go through the process of going outside your comfort zone. You have to go through the process of failing and making mistakes. Because if you don't know what makes you happy, then you just got to write down a couple of things that you feel like to have that might make you happy, and try all of them. If one doesn't work, then try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. But you can't worry about the opinion of people judging you every single time you fail and every single time that you have to restart in your life to be happy. And that's why a lot of people find it really, really hard to figure out who they are, because a lot of people are afraid of getting judged, especially when it comes to making mistakes, especially when it comes to restarting their life. Because at the end of the day, when you restart your life, that's not giving up. Giving up means you're done. You're never going to put any effort again into achieving what you want. But restarting means that you learn your lesson and you're trying again one more time. You only fail if you stop trying. The reason why a lot of people find it really hard to go into relationships, right, or to date people, because we're trying to date within a timeline. With that, we're trying to date within a specific age. Now, we're worried about getting older. We're worried about who we're seeing dating. We're worried about what kind of person, this person, what kind of income status, or where they're from, instead of just pursuing the people that you carry in your heart, regardless of what kind of income they have, regardless of where they're from, regardless of the ethnicity, of their skin color, of or whatever they're from. Just follow your heart and love who you want to love. But nowadays, it's like relationships and the people we date is more of pleasing. It's more of pleasing your family members. It's more of it's not really about love no more. It's like it's like a transaction within your own family to please everybody instead of pleasing yourself. And why a lot of people find it really hard to be successful is because a lot of people go into careers that they're not happy with. A lot of people are doing things or they don't have a passion for. If you're not happy in what you're doing, if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, then you're never going to put in your best effort to make the necessary sacrifices and commitment that's required to be successful. So I challenge all you guys out there that you have to start figuring out who you are. That is the first step. And like I said, the reason why trying to figure out who you are is really difficult, why a lot of people find it hard to figure out who they truly are, because you have to go through that struggle. You have to go through the trial and error. You have to go through the process of making mistakes, because that's the only way you can figure out what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy. Now, it's the only way you can figure out what kind of love that you want to attract into your life, how you want to be treated, or how you don't want to be treated, and what type of love you don't want to attract in your life. That's the only way you can figure out what makes you the things that you have skill set for, the things you're really good at, and the things you're not really good at, that you may not have the skills for, right? So that's the process of going through the ups and downs and of course not caring what people think, and be able to live a different life, a different path, and just focusing on yourself to do what's best for you. That's the process of being able to find who you are, and that's the process of being able to be comfortable of being yourself, is going down that path of being different, going down that path of not worrying what people think, going down that path of only caring about your own opinion about yourself, and not worried about the standards, and not worried about the expectations of other people, society, they try to place upon you. So that's my brothers and sisters, I want to express my love to all you guys. Start figuring out who you are, because once you get to that point, once you really figure out who you are, even though life is still difficult, even though life is still hard, and life is still going to be painful, that's part of life. Life is struggle, and struggle is life. But when you figure out who you are, then it becomes peaceful. Even though you're struggling, but you can be peaceful in your struggles. Even though you're failing, you can be peaceful in your failures. Even though life is hard, the hardships, you can still be peaceful in your hardships, because you're not worried about the opinion of other people. You're not worried about the judgment of what people say or what people think about you, because you're on in your own world, your own lane, in your own happiness. You don't care what people think, because even though I'm failing, even though I'm struggling, even though I'm suffering, but I'm suffering in something that makes me happy. I'm suffering in something that gives me love and joy and peace. I'm suffering, but I'm suffering as the true person of who I am on the inside. I'm not suffering with something that I don't want, or something I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. And that's why a lot of people suffer. That's why a lot of people are sad, because they're not being genuine. They're not being real. They're not being authentic. When you try to be somebody you're not, and then you fail and you make mistakes, and then you go through some bad times, then you're always going to be worried of what people say. And of course, when people are always going to have something to say, and when they do say it, it's always going to affect you mentally. It's always going to affect you negatively, and it's going to tear you apart. It's really, and for me, I'm able to find my kind of peace of what I want for my life, and that's why I don't really care about what people think, because I'm comfortable in being who I am. I'm cool. I'm being myself. I'm being different. I'm being unique. I'm working towards my goals, dreams, aspirations. I say I want to say I'm living my life that makes me happy. I'm not living by anybody else's life. So the opinion and judgment and criticism of other people doesn't faze me. And the reason it doesn't faze me because I'm being myself. Right? But of course, it took me a lot of ups and downs. It took me a lot of failures. It took me a lot of, I had to go, I had to, went through a lot of struggle dealing with my flaws, my things I didn't like about myself, the things I hated about myself, the skeletons, the trauma, the past struggles, all of my mistakes in my past. I had to deal with that. And I had to come to terms with that. And it was a really difficult process. And it didn't happen overnight. It took a lot of years of positive reinforcement, positive reaffirmation, changing my mindset, changing my thoughts, surrounding myself with the right people, feeding my mind positivity, love, faith. That was what I had to do. That was the process I had to go through in order to find myself. And then, of course, a lot of people a lot of people can't do that. Or, no, I can't say they can't. They just won't because they're too afraid of what people think. They're too afraid of working on their own insecurities, their flaws, the pain and traumas that's within them. And that's why a lot of people today are so unhappy because they're not being their true selves. They're not authentic. They're not being real. Most people are living a life to impress other people. They're living the life of the expectations of other people, their family, their friends, society, right? They're living their whole life. That's a facade. That's not being who they want to be. And then when they fail, when they make mistakes, and when they struggle, or when people criticize them, when people judge them, it only tears their own self-esteem apart because they don't really have a lot of self-esteem. Because when you try to live a life that you're not, when you try to be somebody you're not, your self-esteem is not really, really high because it's not the real you. It's fake self-esteem. You're going to try to act confident. You're going to try to act happy. You're going to have a fake, you're going to smile at people, pretend like you're happy, but it's all fake because that's not who you really are. But if you're able to go through that process of going through that lonely process of going on that process that's going to be full of suffering, full of struggle, full of trial and error, of figuring out who you are, once you get there, then you have so much peace because you're comfortable who you are. Your self-esteem is going to be really high because you're peaceful. You've come to terms of your own peace and happiness, and you don't care what people think because you're happy, you're peaceful, exactly the way you are. And once you figure out who you are, then you know the answers of what makes you happy, what kind of love do you want, what do you want to do, what do you want to do to be successful. Then you're able to formulate a game plan of what for your life, a structure for your life. And then that's why you'll be able to work towards the things you want, and that's how you'll be able to figure out your own mission and purpose in life. But you can never figure out your mission and purpose in life if you don't know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, then you'll always be living the life of somebody else, always be living the dream of somebody else, living the goals of somebody else, living the expectations and standards of somebody else, instead of your own expectations and standards that makes you truly happy. And that's the first step. So I just wanted to share that with you guys for today. I hope you guys found some value in what I said, but I was just thinking about it today. Please, 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 before you do anything else, figure out who you are, and and you have to, like I said, you have to go through that tough process. But I promise you, when you get to the end of that process and you really figure out who you are, to be unapologetic when it comes to who you are, loving yourself, being proud of yourself, right? Appreciating yourself, and being really, really happy and finding peace in your own life from all the things from your past. That's when you'll be able to finally see a clear vision, direction, and able to form a game plan of necessary steps of where you want to be for your life. But if you don't know who you are, if you care too much about the opinion of other people, you concern yourself more about what people say about you or pleasing other people, but you never do anything for yourself, then you're gonna find you're gonna live a very, very difficult, painful, and miserable life. Because when bad things happen, because it's gonna happen, that's life. We're all gonna face tribulations, trials, errors, and adversity in our life. But when that happens, then the only person that's going to uplift you is yourself. But if you don't love yourself, that means you're not feeding. If you don't love who you are, if you don't figure out who you are, that means you're not feeding love, faith, encouragement to the person inside, because you don't even know who that person on the inside. The reason why I'm able to bounce back faster, that's why I'm able to persist. That's why I'm able to overcome the obstacles and the bad times in my life, because I know who I am, and I'm happy with who I am, and I've been feeding, because once I know who I am, I'm feeding that person love, encouragement, empowerment every day. So that person within me is happy. So when my outside circumstances are negative, it doesn't really affect who I am on the inside, because my person on the inside is positive. My person on the inside is happy. My person on the inside is peaceful. So when I'm looking within myself, because the person that we talk to every single day is ourselves, when I'm looking from within for inspiration, that person within me is able to inspire me, encourage me, because I've been training that person, conditioning that person with so much love that has become my identity. That I'm just a loving person. I'm just a happy person. I'm a unapologetic person. I believe in my happiness. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna achieve my goals and dreams, because that's who I am on the inside. Nothing on the outside can harm who I am, because my foundation is strong and solid. Right? You can't build a life if your foundation is weak, and you're the person who you are on the inside is your foundation, and who you are on the inside, to be your authentic, real, genuine self. That's the foundation of everything in your life. And before you can build anything else, when it comes to your happiness, when it comes to love, when it comes to success, if you don't have that foundation, it's going to fall apart easily. The first sign of adversity, the first sign of difficulty, the first sign of failure. So, but just want to share that with you guys. Work on yourself every single day, and try to figure out who you are, and before you focus on, and once you do that, then you'll be able to easily progress, change, and improve in your life. So if you love what I said today, love my content, please like and subscribe to my video. Please drop a comment below. I would love to hear what you said, what you think, if anything, any kind of topics you want me to discuss on my next video. But if you love my content, please share with the people you love. And like I said, let's walk by faith, not by sight. Spread the love and positivity. Bless all. Peace.